Request certain project policy sir to present a memorandum to finance sir. Request certain project policy sir to present a memorandum to army finance sir and thank you sir. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to the next presentation before the lunch. So it's on climate change and its impacts on public health. So it's a brief profile about the project policy. So in the Associate Professor in Department of Soil Engineering, Department of Climate Change, and IIT Hyderabad Technology. Here to join IIT Hyderabad because he was a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard University and School of Public Health. He was completing PhD in Environmental Science from the Federal Institute of Technology, ETS, Juris, Japan, in Canada. He then his master's in environmental engineering from University of British Columbia, Canada, and getting in civil engineering from IIT Karakul. His research group works Karakul, IIT Karakul. His research group works on various aspects of environmental science and health, most especially cycling and fate of chemical and environmental health and human health, and the present and future climate scenario. He has published in several yellow multidisciplinary and field-specific journals such as Nature, Environmental Science, and Technology. He is on the editorial board of PMO and also of PMOS Climate. And he is the particular professor in human science and health policy decision. Welcome for the lecture. Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, hello everyone. This talk is more like an introductory and overview talk for impacts on climate change on health. So I will start off with some introduction. Of course, we know this. Earth is now almost 1 degree warmer than it previously was. Basically, this is the mean temperature. This is the deviation from the mean temperature in the past more than 100 years. So that's your deviation mean. Yeah. So basically, these are the areas where the temperature was lower than the mean. These are the areas which are higher than the mean. So previously, the used to be low and high, but now the deviation is consistently going up and up and up. So the indications are that it is actually getting warmer. And next is it's basically a graph in Tsccc or vulnerability to climate change. So the darker red is of course most vulnerable. So the darker red is of course most vulnerable, and then different shades from orange to yellow. But one important thing is we have this hash lines which are low density areas, and then the solid lines which are high density, like high population density. So even though we are not maybe very vulnerable, we are highly vulnerable, but the population density is high. So we have more people who are subjected to even not 100% but 80% of extremely. So that's concerning now. And in Africa, it's actually quite bad. So, given this background, uh, we know, and the couple of slides earlier in the previous presentation as well, that climate change there are direct impacts and indirect impacts. So direct would be like extreme heat wave influence us, or a rising sea level which that influences people and people have to do some movement. Changes in rainfall, gradient, floods, or drought, then climate change. So all this basically would lead to injury or illness or death. And then we have indirect effects through changes to the environment. So the environment will cause some more air pollution, and then it will be exposed to more pollution. Or it may help proliferation of infectious disease, and then we are exposed to that. Same for water quality, foodborne illnesses, and also like mental health and well-being. So these are the indirect effects, and through this presentation, we will touch all of them deeply for almost all of them. One more introductory figure is there, which is the projected annual death attributed to climate change. So here we have to see basically this is region wise, so you can maybe look at the South Asian one. It's not visible. Green is due to red is due to heat. So high heat exposure. The blue, the yellow is due to diarrhea, and then there is some malaria impacts as well. The blue is malaria. So there are different things that will basically all of them will influence us. Okay, so now the other thing, if the change is over a very long period of time, at least for us, we may adapt a little bit slowly, but very long means hundreds of years. So we may adapt a little bit, but when we are looking at extreme events, the fluctuations are very high, and the body is not able to respond that fast. So that means we are under some kind of stress. So your heat stress, so you know, suddenly temperature will increase or suddenly it will cool down. So when fluctuations are happening, you will not be able to withstand these shocks, and the annual heat extremes are also increasing, which is in this map. So this is the annual mean frequency time per year of extreme events, and it used to be 3 to 4. But now duration, so the frequency is also increasing now. Also the duration of the event is increasing. So it's not half a day, it is 2 days or 4 days. So both are increasing. Here we are basically 5 to 6 mean event duration per event. So the event duration is increasing and the number of events are also increasing. We will focus on this one. So like number of treatments in India. So this is treatment magnitude and over the years. So it used to be before the 70s not much, then more and more, and if you see towards 2010, they have become much more frequent, like almost every year or every other year. And we are also, also like living these times. So we know it is happening. There was of course one extreme around 1995. So we are maybe not that high extreme, but we are like 9 to 12 days heat wave, 7 days heat wave, and they are all happening frequently. And this is the projection of heat waves in India on different IPCC scenarios. So basically, we are having heat wave frequency projection. So now from somewhere here we are 10 to around 2100, we will have 20 or so heat waves, anywhere between 18 and 30 heat waves per year. That's like 1 month and 12 months. Right, and the duration also, right now we are somewhere like 10-15 days duration, they may go for 30 days duration. So the duration of the heat waves themselves will increase. And the area coverage also is going to increase. So we are somewhere here to 30% of area, but maybe after 30 or 60 years, almost 90% area. All the projections are somewhere like 60 to 100% of the area will be uh, influenced by this kind of extreme. So, okay, so we know heat waves are going to increase. What are the pathways where it can happen? So, the human body will respond to heat stress in some peculiar ways, let's say. One is redistributing the blood flow towards the skin to increase the heat transfer from muscle to the skin. then we will sweat so that we will lose heat. So basically, it's a mechanism of giving out heat from the body, this sweating. So the brain will regulate these responses with inputs from nerve cells in skin and body and signals such as dehydration. So these heat losses are necessary to limit the increase in the core temperature of the body. So the body will try to protect our core temperature. That's why you have hypothermia and all those things, because when body tries to protect core temperature, these things will freeze off the extreme. So basically, this is the mechanism with which we try to leave out heat. So redistribution of blood flow to the skin will increase cardiac demand. So if you are not strong in the, well, the heart is like, it will be under stress. And if someone already has some condition, then we are giving it more stress. So the likelihood of impact will increase. So it will decrease heart's filling pressure, and it will require heart to pump faster, and then also increase the local oxygen demand. So people with pre-existing heart conditions, this becomes a mismatch between oxygen demand and supply, leading to cardiovascular failure. And it turns out that all-cause cardiovascular illness is one of the main cause of death during the periods. So right now we have like so many people, half a billion could or give or take in the world, but this is also increasing due to our lifestyle. So if you combine all these things, we become more vulnerable. So now, when sweat evaporation is cooling the body, we are losing water. So it's straining the kidneys, and chronic dehydration is in fact a problem in India, and it is more regular today in heat waves. We can all relate to these kind of things actually. Somehow we have experienced all of those things ourselves. And then when we have higher internal temperature, we are having like more oxidative stress, and we can also have cell and tissue damage, including the organs. So heat-derived lung damage, which is also amplified by things such as air pollution, is another important cause of the heart damage. These are different parts of the skip. So that was heat stress. Now this is rising sea level. So again, we know that sea level projections, rise projections are there, and different, depending on different ports, you can have half a meter to up to 2.5 meters of sea level rise. So, well, current projected previously IPCC was 1.2 or 2 about most likely, but some studies say that it's actually going to be more than that. So let's say 1 to 2 meters of sea level rise is there. And we have this as our initial situation where there are people living at the coast. So there are some tides going in and out. Okay, people are living. There is an ecosystem service. You have mangroves, coral reefs, seagrass, agriculture, and people. And there is some marine flooding that may happen sometimes. And then we will stressing to seawater, right? So again, see, more area is being inundated, and your tidal impacts are coming even further inshore. So the sea level rise is basically it's forcing these people away. So now you have to move them somewhere inside. So migration will happen. Buildings, infrastructure is destroyed. We have lost our ecosystem services like mangroves and fisheries and coral reefs. These are impacted. Agriculture is impacted. So loss of land, loss of livelihood, and loss of ecosystem services. All three are possible. So coastal inundation during storm, flooding, and coastal erosion, and failure of coastal protection is going to damage infrastructure, building or roads. And your direct effects would be that's due to drowning and injuries. And indirect effects would be like drainage, flooded septic tanks. Then it leads to contamination of drinking water and then waterborne pathogens. That's what. We also have soil water intrusion, which will basically make the water not potable at all. Or if you drink that, there are a lot of health issues that will be concerned. And also, we will have exposure to water contaminants because this could be due to flooding of contaminated land or some contaminants that were immobile or less mobile. When things are flooded, the zone will become anoxic, maybe the pH will decrease, and they will become mobile. So again, it leads to
available chemical pollution which will reach down in marine waters, and then we have investable toxins, and then water habitats of mosquito will increase, and then that's what. Then finally, mental health effects and social capital. So we have physical loss of land, homes, then we will have food and water insecurity, loss of employment, and displacement of people. And then, of course, cultural and traditional land and historical data is gone. It will lead to overcrowding, lack of shelter, and increased demands for service of the remaining area. So you have anxiety, depression, PTSD. So that was sea level rise. Then rain, floods, and droughts. So we are at a very high. This map basically is a qualitative map on drought risk. So India is of course country under the highest level of risk. We happen to be also very high in flood probability. Like you see, northeast area, annual flood probability is almost 70 to 100%. So 70 to 100% chance there is going to be a flood in that area every year. And we, of course, we see that in the news as well. And then the other places also have decent flood probability, at least somewhere around 20 to 50%, I guess. So we are also flood prone. And this is the flood population displaced. So population, the amount of population that is under risk from floods. So we are looking at log 10 scale. So it's like 10,000 to 1 lakh population in the area. We don't need to go into details. The effects of floods are by and large similar to what we touched on sea level, damage of infrastructure, movement of people. Also, we can add damage of crops. Same for droughts, damage of crops because of water shortage. So we have done the direct parts. The indirect part, for example, is climate change on air pollution. So these are the things that may be influenced by changing climate. So ozone layers, atmospheric circulations, particulate matter concentrations, and chemical reaction, pollen release. So all these are going to impact. So ozone for inhalation is not good, and we need it in the stratosphere only. So exposure to ground level ozone varies with conditions such as temperature. And for a given level of ozone, higher temperature increases the risk of ozone related. Of course, AC will have you can lower the concentration. So at ground level, it is formed by reaction between NOx and volatile organic compounds. So the concentration depends on the emissions of these compounds as well as conditions such as temperature, humidity, cloud cover, and wind. And high ozone levels have been operated coincide with extended durations of sunshine and extreme heat. So again, when we have extreme weather areas, the direct stress was there. Additionally, we are going to have chemical exposure effects. In this case, ozone. And then we have respiratory illness, which are more likely that might be extreme case. And it can, at higher levels, it will impede photosynthesis. Okay, now particulate matter is a combination of different compounds. So sulfate, nitrate, organic carbon, black carbon, mineral dust, sea spray. And it's small, the PM 2.5, and now people also look at PM 1. These are small enough particles to reach the lungs and be deposited like in the interior part of lungs. So in this case, of course, when we have low wind conditions, there is less ventilation, more PM. Also, things like wildfires will also increase the PM concentration. So PM can increase or decrease due to increase or decrease stagnation and then changing emissions of vegetation. Well, if there's more rainfall, then maybe we'll have less PM in the air. And then finally, airborne allergens, which will be due to increased temperature and CO2. So it can cause hay fever, allergies, asthma, mostly allergies and pollen season. Of course, we know it can cause allergies in a lot of people. So same actually alterates and it alters the degree of allergic reactions to PM. So and then climate change and water related disease. The most important thing here is that we have this area where you have urban runoff, residential runoff, farm runoff, then we have water treatment and sewage treatment plants. So of course increased sea level we have already done. When we have increased frequency and intensity of precipitation, Then we will have runoff of the contaminants into rivers and estuaries and all the water bodies, which then leads to the problem of water-related proliferation of disease and also contamination of water, and then it also uh, propagates to fish and shellfish, which we most of us consume as well. So we have runoff of nutrients, which can lead to algal blooms, can produce toxins, and contaminate fish and shellfish. Runoff of chemicals, so again contaminate fish and shellfish, and also if we are somehow related to drinking exposure, then that's also there. Then we have the different types of illnesses that are possible: diarrhea, fever, this contamination. Then we have vector-borne diseases. So vector is basically a living organism, tick or mosquito, and it will transmit an infectious agent from one person to another. So these are ectotherms, meaning cold-blooded. They need outside temperature to regulate the body. We are warm-blooded, we can regulate our own, but these are cold-blooded. So these will do better in a warmer climate. So if you have warm climate and also moist conditions, actually, you will have more proliferation of malaria or dengue or such vector-borne diseases. And so these outbreaks are often preceded by hot and humid or warm and humid conditions. So we have covered all of this, so I can basically just stand through this. Where we have extreme heat, which relate to heat-related distance. Outdoor air quality can be caused due to increasing temperature and changing precipitation. Worse air quality, premature death, and then we have impacts. Flooding can contaminate water and cause drowning injuries as well as exposure-related injuries, and for vector-borne disease. And then same for water-related infections, so waterborne diseases and infections. Flood-related, increase in temperature, humidity, which increases the growth of pathogens, and then we have infections and gastrointestinal plagues. Finally, we have the mental health and well-being, which is basically due to different climate change impacts and extreme weather events. So the level of exposure to traumatic events and disasters will increase, which will lead to distress, grief, behavioral changes, and then if you look in life skills, then it is like social impacts. So some adaptation things are, so I think we did that also. So like we need strong public policies, good disease surveillance programs, control programs, and early warning, which we were actually, which was highlighted in the previous talk, as well as public awareness campaigns. And individually, basically, we have to be aware of the risk and what are the signs of exposure. Then we have protective measures, and then stick to the plans. This we have done. So now, if we have adaptation scenarios where we have uh, global temperature survey increase, limited adaptation, incomplete adaptation, and a very good adaptation, and these are risks slash impacts. So this of course is very high and low risk. So in all the climate scenarios, we will have impact. So we cannot avoid that. For example, heat-related morbidity and mortality. Impacts are there, but if in a good adaptation scenario, we can probably limit the impacts to a moderate level based on our current baseline. Same for ozone-related and vector-borne disease-related mortalities. The take home is that limited adaptation is actually going to take us to very high risk, whereas a better adaptation will reduce the risk a lot. Same goes for health system capacities. So we have basically present situation where we have a normal health system, and then something happens and the system gets a shock, and we actually can relate it to COVID. So we have the performance drop at some time, and then the systems will start to recover. Now the level of recovery depends on what is the approach post shock. If it's a good approach, we will transform the health system, and we have recovery better than before. But if we are not able to revamp or reassess the health system, we are going to go to collapse or a very limited number of recovery. The company's climate resilience, we've already seen this today in the previous talk. So that's it. Basically, we have hazard, vulnerability, exposure, and then we need to have a key adaptive responses. So we have acute chronic events, pre-existing or new health conditions. Then we have direct exposure, indirect exposure, and the adaptation is at individual level, community level, and of course, all of this again feeds to the risk to mental health and well-being. That concludes.
According to this, the friends, alerts will be declared in orange, you will be completed.
I'm not that like I don't know what is the threshold of saying orange or red, so I don't have a thought. Probably it's related to intensity of the flood. Maybe someone else knows about how this alarm condition taken. That could be likelihood of. I think like too much water coming in once, so it's like an extreme event, intensity of extreme event. I don't know how they-
Good afternoon. We have distinguished guest here, Mr. Vijay Kumar Garu, the senior rights officer, and resigned recently. And very senior positions in the government, social welfare department and education department, senior meeting. So I'd like to know how we can use that and then share your thoughts. Administrative officer may not be, I may not be very technical in applications. Basically, this is question. Yeah, I was listening to Dr. Kureshi here and very nice talk. The reason I'm having this workshop here, the February, ఈ క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్ అనేది మనం మన టీవీలలో చూసేది న్యూస్ పేపర్లలో అనేది కాదు. It is here now happening. నడుస్తున్న సినిమా క్లైమాక్స్ వచ్చింది. ఎక్కడ తెలుసు మనకి క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్ అనే సినిమా క్లైమాక్స్ వచ్చిందని. లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ దాకా మనం చూసినట్టయితే హైదరాబాద్ చుట్టుపక్కల కొన్ని నియర్ బై డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ ఒక రైన్ఫాల్ డేటా తీసుకుంటే 3 రోజుల గ్యాప్ లో 224 millimeters rain. 3 రోజుల్లో. So supposed to be 1 month's rain. Average rainfall Telangana 700 mm, 750 700 mm. Okay, 60 to 65 rainy days only. At least average of 40 rainy days. కానీ 3 రోజుల్లో హాఫ్ ది రైన్ఫాల్ వచ్చింది అంటే ఇమీడియట్ గా జరిగేది అవ్వకండి. టీవీలలో చూస్తున్నాం. హైదరాబాద్ వీళ్ళ బోట్లు పెడుతున్నారు, పడవ నడిపిస్తున్నారు, కారు కొట్టుకుపోతున్నాయి. బేసిక్లీ మనకున్న సివిల్ సర్వీసెస్ చూసినట్లయితే ఎవడో మ్యానువల్ చేస్తాడు, పిల్లాడో పడుతుంది. అండర్స్టూడ్ అది చాలా సీరియస్ ఇష్యూ కాదు. బట్ స్టిల్ మనకు మ్యాన్హోల్స్ లీక్ అయ్యి సీవేజ్ రోడ్ మీద రావడం ఇవన్నీ కామన్ అక్రెన్సెస్ కింద కనపడుతున్నాయి. ఆదిస్తుందా ఆంధ్రపడి ఇక దాని తర్వాత హైదరాబాద్ సిటీలో దోమలు వెక్టర్ బోన్ డిసీజెస్, వెక్టర్ కంట్రోల్ తక్కువ, హాస్పిటల్ వేసినప్పుడు మళ్ళీ టీవీలో చెప్తుంటారు వరకు this kind of news. So basically, climate change is a happening thing.
not something of the future. It's now, it's sure. దీనికి రెండు మూడు రకాలుగా మన హెల్త్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఒక బాధ్యత ఉంది. ఒకటి ఏంటంటే కురేషి గారు చెప్పినట్టు కోపింగ్ మెకానిజమ్స్. 40 సంవత్సరాల టెంపరేచర్ పెరిగింది, 1.1 డిగ్రీ సెంటిగ్రేడ్ పెరిగింది. దానివల్ల ఈ ఎక్స్ట్రీమ్ క్లైమేట్ ఈవెంట్స్ వస్తున్నాయి, ఇదంతా ఫైన్. బట్ హౌ డూ జనరల్ పాపులేషన్స్ cope with this stress? And what kind of messaging should be there from our department? Health department నుంచి ఎలాంటి మెసేజింగ్, ఎలాంటి కమ్యూనికేషన్ పబ్లిక్ లో పోవాలి అనేది ఒక మెయిన్ ఇష్యూ. చాలా మంది తెలియదు. I mean, our health awareness levels in the general population, I think is not very high. Kabatti, what kind of messaging? For example, we talk about air quality, outdoor air quality. Outdoor air quality, మనం చూసినట్టయితే మీరు ఏదైనా చెస్ట్ హాస్పిటల్ ఒకటి, ప్రైవేట్ హాస్పిటల్, పద్మావతి డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఉంది. చాలా మందికి లంగ్స్ లో ఇష్యూస్ వస్తుంది. ఓకే, పాలెంగ్రేను, ఆస్మా, అలర్జన్స్, ఇది ఓకే. కానీ చాలా మందికి అంటే ఈవెన్ సరే మేల్ జనరంగా చీరలు లాక్తారు, నమస్కారమైన మళ్ళా 5వ జనరం మంచగడి డ్యామేజ్. ఎంతవరకు డ్యామేజ్ అవుతున్నాయి పార్టికులర్ మ్యాటర్తో? మన దగ్గర స్టడీస్ లేవు, మెడికల్ స్టడీస్ ఉన్నాయా? పార్టికులర్ మ్యాటర్ PM2.5, PM1, PM10, PM5 కొని సిటీలా డ్యామేజ్ టు లంగ్స్. వాట్ ఇస్ ఎక్స్టెంట్? మనకు ఉన్నాయి, ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయి, జస్ట్ CT scan, whatever. But are there serious studies on correlation between poor outdoor air quality and pulmonary effects on human pulmonary?
Started collecting the data from 5 hospitals from the last 1 year, sir. And in that, 5 hospitals have been selected. District Hospital, Nalgonda, Patancheru, and Sangareddy, Usmania and Gandhi. We are collecting the data from the emergency, pediatric emergencies and the emergencies. And the data for 1 year, yes. And nebulization, how many patients are received and how many patients are admitted in ICU. And then what is the outcome? So all this data we are collecting from the last 1 year. And then we want to implement it for the entire Telangana district hospitals so that we can have a steady rate now.
తర్వాత అంటే మీరు ఈ సైడ్ నుంచి కేసులు ఏమొస్తున్నాయి అది చేస్తున్నారు. బట్ బేసిక్లీ ఇండోర్ అవుట్డోర్ ఎయిర్ క్వాలిటీ ఎలా మారుతుంది అనేది
And then we have to coordinate with the IMC department. And then we have to
propose that as a technology, measurement to various studies. ఎందుకంటే ఏమవుతుందంటే పిల్లలకి 18 ఏళ్ళు వచ్చినాయి. ఇంతకుముందు వాడు బైక్ అడిగేటోడు, ఒక కారు అడుగుతాను. ఇది ప్రాబ్లం. ఇంతకుముందు ఇంటికి ఒక కారు ఉంటే గ్రేట్. ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఒకటే కారు ఉన్నా మీకు ఇది మనం కూడా అడుగుతాం, ఏమన్నా పక్కింటి వాళ్ళు 2 కార్లు కొనుక్కున్నారు, ఆ సార్లు బిజినెస్ చేసుకోవడానికి జాబ్ పోతే ఇట్లా మేడం కూడా ఒక కారు పెట్టారు, మరి మనకు ఒకటే కారు అనుకుంటుంది. సో కార్ సేల్స్ సో కార్లు ఎట్లా ఉంటుంది దేశంలో, మన సిటీలో ఎయిర్ క్వాలిటీ ఎట్లా మారుతుంది, ఈ జబ్బులు అయిపోతుంది. సో దట్స్ correlation. So that We can communicate to the people. Are bhaiya, metro vehicle, public transport vaadondri. ఎక్కువ కార్లకే జరుగుతుంది. ఇంతకుముందు సూపర్ మార్కెట్ ఇంటి దాకే సూపర్ మార్కెట్ పోయేదంటే మనం మర్చిపోయేటోళ్ళం సంవత్సరం. ఇప్పుడు మనం కార్లో పోతాం ప్లాస్టిక్ బ్యాగ్ వేసుకుంటాం. So basically, you with air pollution, you use more fossil fuels, you are carbon high, and basically you are aggressive. So, I mean, the lifestyle that a population, that a city adapts, has effect on the health, long-term health issues are created. So, మనం ఏంటంటే హెల్త్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ అంటే వాళ్ళు హెల్త్ ఉంటే పర్వాలేదు, మనకేం పర్లేదు, వాళ్ళు జబ్బు వస్తేనే మనం ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఇవ్వాలా. సంథింగ్ కాల్ ఎస్పీఎం ఎస్పీఎం అంటే social preventive tools. So basically, these are the concepts where we kind of have a continuous messaging and engagement with the people and correlate the lifestyle issues, the high carbon issues, climate change, and indirectly what are the health, and directly and indirectly what are the health effects, deleterious health effects on the population. So, ఈ మెసేజింగ్ అనేది లేదు మన దగ్గర. ఈ మెసేజింగ్ అనేది మన దగ్గర ఉండాలంటే మన దగ్గర అథెంటిక్ డేటా ఉండాలి. చెప్పినట్టు హాస్పిటల్స్ డేటా మనం తీసుకున్నాం. ఎక్కడైనా రెస్పిరేటరీ డిస్ట్రెస్ వచ్చి నెబులైజేషన్ ఇచ్చినప్పుడు కార్టికోస్టెరాయిడ్ వాడినప్పుడు డేటా వస్తుంది. ఆ డేటా ఇది ఎన్నివేళ జనరేట్ అవుతుంది. ఎయిర్ క్వాలిటీ ఖరాబ్ అయిన ఉన్నా కాదా ఆ కొరిలేషన్ ఐఎన్ తీసుకోండి. బట్ యూఆర్ ఇన్ బెటర్ పొజిషన్, ల్యాబ్ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ తీసుకొని ఈ కొరిలేషన్ క్రియేట్ చేసి భయ్యా మీరు కారం రోడ్ మీద తీసుకొచ్చి సూపర్ మార్కెట్ రోడ్ కూడా వాకింగ్ పోని కేరియర్ మార్కెట్ వాకింగ్ పోని కాలేసుకోవడం వస్తుంది. ఎందుకు ఉన్నతాడు అపార్ట్మెంట్ లో వాక్ చేసి కదా లేదు అట్లా. సో బేసిక్లీ we need to create awareness how you can mitigate the effects, negative effects of climate change and how it is affecting your health. అనేది మనం రోగం వచ్చినప్పుడు మనం మందులు ఇస్తాం, ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఇస్తాం కాకుండా అది జరగకముందే we need to develop a communication strategy with the same. I mean, I can go on, but what is the issue? So basically, same with water issues. And I think I'll talk about another item and then close. Plastic. ఎవరంటే ప్లాస్టిక్ ఆ జవర్ మీద కొడితే మంది ఉండలేకపోతుంది. అదే దాని మీద ప్లాస్టిక్ డంప్ల మీదనే వర్షాలు పడి ఆ వాటర్ లీచ్ అయిపోయి అదే then it gets mixed into musi, all kinds of stuff. So basically because of plastic, everything is because of plastic. Appropriate plastic uncommon, fire. Then you have a lot of dioxins, furans, pH, items, volatile organic compounds. ఇవన్నిటి వల్ల పబ్లిక్ హెల్త్ ఎలా ఖరాబ్ అవుతుంది. ఇది కూడా మనం చిన్నప్పుడు సంచి పట్టకపోయేది, ఇప్పుడు సంచి పట్టకపోతే మనకు నమ్మకం. ఇలా సంచులు పెడతాం సూపర్ మార్కెట్ కూడా సంచి పట్టకపోతే. సో బేసిక్లీ ప్లాస్టిక్ దెన్ చూసుకుంటారు మీరు ఇక్కడ మేము ప్లాస్టిక్ చేసాలు పెట్టాం పడుకోండి. We use glass bottles and basically we avoid, we educate. Siddipeta municipality ట్రైనింగ్ సెంటర్ దాని పెరిగేటప్పుడు వాటికి కిరాయి ఎన్నికి స్టీల్ గ్లాస్ స్టీల్ పల్లాలి ఊళ్ళో యాడ్ పెళ్ళిళ్ళైనా స్టీల్ గ్లాస్ స్టీల్ పల్లాలు కిరాయి తీస్తారు ఇట్స్ స్మాల్ బిజినెస్ యాక్టివిటీ rent వస్తుంది I mean, on the other side, flip side, what happens is a lot of plastic doesn't go into the waste. How do you minimize the waste in the environment? కాకపోతే మన సబ్జెక్ట్ ఏంటంటే ఈ అత్యధికమైన ప్లాస్టిక్ వాడకం వలన ఈ డయాక్సిన్స్ రివాన్స్ ఎంతవరకు క్యాన్సర్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది ఆ లెక్క మా దగ్గర ఉన్నాయో లేవు అంటారు మానిటర్ చేస్తున్నామో లేదో కానీ ఇన్సిడెన్స్ ఆఫ్ మైక్రో ప్లాస్టిక్ ఎప్పుడు ఐఐటి ఇంజనీరింగ్ చెప్తారు ప్లాస్టిక్ తీసుకొచ్చి కలబెట్టి రోడ్ల మీద పోస్తే రోడ్ల బిడ్డమైన వాడకం అది కూడా స్టార్ట్ చేసి రోడ్ల మీద ప్లాస్టిక్ ఫ్రిక్షన్ బిట్వీన్ ద టైర్ అండ్ ద రోడ్ క్రియేట్స్ స్మాల్ microplastic into it and people are ingesting it and the incidence of microplastic in human blood and feces ఇది ఎంతవరకు ఉంది దీని ఇంపాక్ట్ ఏంటి స్టడీ లేదు సంథింగ్ రిలేటెడ్ టు స్టార్ట్ we can have a project with EPTR and Health Department can coordinate then higher incidence of usage of single-use plastic or other plastics then incidence of microplastic in human system either the bloodstream or rather gastrointestinal stream or recent report on అప్పుడే పుట్టిన human baby or some 3-month old fetus దాంట్లో మైక్రోప్లాస్టిక్ తీసుకోవాలి ఇంకా సో మనం రిక్రూట్ అయినప్పుడు ఉన్న హెల్త్ ఛాలెంజెస్ వేరు బికాస్ ఆఫ్ క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ఎక్స్ట్రీమ్ లైఫ్ స్టైల్స్ ఇప్పుడున్న హెల్త్ ఛాలెంజెస్ లేవు I'm not touching about the stress levels and mental health issues and all. Mental subject మనకు రావు నేను మాట్లాడుతున్నాను but visible things microplastic in bloodstream gastrointestinal stream then we are talking about particulate matter in lungs even non-smokers getting it then damage to liver so ఇవన్నీ కూడా we need to study we need to document we need to create a communication so that the general population will modify themselves and help mitigate extreme climate events. This is my humble request. We all need to work together on this. We need to engage environmental agencies like EPTRA and health agencies like you. We all need to work together, create credible use this information in engaging with the public at large and help us.
Thank you, sir. That's two important topics like air pollution and plastic, microplastic. Actually, in the air pollution also we have SPM, suspended particulate matter report. It's also used in our and probably if you get the data from health department, with regard to which area they are getting more patients, with regard to pulmonology data, pulmonology affected people, then probably in those areas we can measure the air quality. Because IIT gives the data with regard to temperature and even TS Telangana State Disaster Government Society, they have about otherwise mental station. IIT is only district wise, whereas they have model wise and we more minute data. And probably if you could tell the locations where.
I traffic
Yeah. In city also they have model data. They have area wise. So they can get those data from them. And probably we can measure the air quality and correlate where it is more so that appropriate action can be taken in those areas. And probably we can have jointly bid for a project with DFT. And Dr. Kureshi will be leaving after lunch. If you have any questions, you can take questions right now. Anybody has any questions? Because we have done a lot of research on Aspen climate. So future climate, future, we have given a lot of predictions. So if you have any questions,
నా ప్రశ్న సార్ ఇప్పుడు ఈ క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్ కి మేజర్గా ముఖ్య కారకులు ఎవరంటే ప్రజలు. సో ఈ టొబాకో కంట్రోల్ ఇంపాక్ట్ అనేది కూడా ప్రజల్లో యాక్ట్ అనేది తెచ్చాము. దీని మీద ఎలాంటి పాలసీస్ లేకపోతే పనిష్మెంట్ వాళ్ళకి ఏదైనా ఫైన్స్ రూపంలో ఏమన్నా ఫ్యూచర్లో కానీ ఇప్పుడు కానీ ఏమన్నా ఉందా?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you come again?
చలాన్ లాంటి ఏమన్నా పనిష్మెంట్ రూపంలో వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తున్నాం అంటే ఈ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ పొల్యూషన్ చేయడానికి సిగరెట్ తాగే విధానం ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గా చెప్పాను. సో అట్లా ఏమన్నా చలానాలు ఈరోజు ఏమన్నా ఎన్ఫోర్స్మెంట్
Doctor, specifically, challenge for what? By using plastic?
Yes.
Then ask the specific question, no? You should get clarity about the question.
నో సార్ అవేర్నెస్ అనేది ఉంది సార్. ప్లాస్టిక్ వాడొద్దు అండ్ ఇవన్నీ ఉన్నాయి. చలానా కూడా మున్సిపాలిటీ లెవెల్లో చలానా చేస్తున్నారు. దాని కాకుండా ఇంకా వేరే హ్యూమన్
ఈ చలాన్ కన్నా కూడా ముందు మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరర్ ని ట్యాకిల్ చేయాలి. ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేసే వాటిని ట్యాకిల్ చేయాలి. అది స్టాక్ అవైలబుల్ చెప్తున్నా షాప్స్ ని ట్యాకిల్ చేయాలి. దెన్ కమ్స్ ద వెండర్ హూ టేక్స్. So government is working out at the higher level because we had meeting the state pollution control board people also. So they are trying to identify and fix there is some micron quality for the plastic bags which can only be used. All of us know as a professional. But how far you go to a small vegetable vendor. You will be going in a car, you see nice tomatoes, you stop your car, you buy and then go. Other time you don't have a bag anyway. So you are forced to take that bag. Can you question that vendor how many microns this bag is, why are you using it? If he says it is 50 rupees kilo, automatically you will get out of the car and then take it and then go. So it is, see, I am just telling you the example. It is the social responsibility of everyone on this earth. Not only the policy maker and not only the governing bodies, not only the district magistrates and whoever are sitting. But I have, when I was DMNA4 and already we have attended this meeting many times. And we inspected that plastic manufacturing units also to control because as the rightly pointed out, the effect is more in urban areas where the density of the population is more and majority, starting from BPLs to the highest earning member lives in this area. So automatically the pollution will be more. So the thing is like it is all of our responsibility rather than making a law and then doing the thing. As tobacco, only you said one example. How many people smoke in this just circle of 30, 35? Can you raise your hands? So I'm not pointing out anyone. My question is, it is the responsibility of each individual citizen, whoever is living. Then only you can make the change. There is no point in just sitting and talking and doing the thing. The small change should come from us. To take my car, I have a cloth bag in my car. I return my driver whenever he takes up. So that is a small change. When last meeting I attended, I have seen these small cute glass bottles and I asked them. Then they said this entire premises is free from plastic, madam. So we use only the glass bottles and steel plates and that Tingwani plates for eating, spoons, everything. So such kind of appreciation are the change should come from every one of us. For example, we go to a meeting. Can we suggest? For example, a small kitty is there in our house only. We'll never think that, okay, we'll use all these steel glasses and automatically we will go to supermarket and randomly we'll pick up so many things and then we'll finish off that dinner and take one big black bag and dump it and then trash fellow comes and we'll send away. So I also know that it is adding up to a lot of waste and it is taking time and money. But the consequences pre and pro, we have to judge and commitment is rather needed at everybody's level. That's what I feel. I don't know, sir, what is your answer?
And the market like on green and there. Drag up right. What is that? I say I will do it. I will do it. This data. After drinking, now the instrumental output and other from the angle research. కొత్త వాట్సాప్ గ్రూప్ ఒకటి ఉంది. డ్రంక్ అండ్ డ్రైవ్ చెకింగ్ ఎక్కడెక్కడ నడుస్తుంది రియల్ టైం అలా చేసి పంపించలేము. అంటే ఒక ఫ్రెండ్స్ గ్రూప్ ఉంటాను ఒక పెద్ద పెద్ద గ్రూప్ 15 పలాజాలు రియల్ టైం ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ పకాల దాకా ఏదో మూడవది ఒక మంచి యాప్ ఒకటి నడుస్తాను. ఇది బేసిక్లీ డ్రైవ్ యూ హోమ్. డ్రైవ్ యూ హోమ్ ఇది నా యాప్. నువ్వు ఫ్రెండ్స్ తో కలిసి మందు కొట్టినాక రాత్రి కూడా నువ్వు సెల్ఫ్ డ్రైవ్ చేయలేవు కాబట్టి ఫోన్ చేస్తే ఒక డ్రైవర్ వస్తాడు. డ్రైవ్ యూజ్ చేసిన డ్రైవ్ యూ అంటే బేసిక్లీ మన దేశం ఎట్లయిపోతుందంటే శతకోటి దరిద్రాలకు అంతకోటి రూపాయలు వస్తాయి. సో మనం చాలా తెలివిగా సో ఎనీ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ ఒక డెమోక్రసీలో డిక్టేటర్షిప్ ఇట్లా పరిపాలిస్తారు. So basically, punitive action is not always the solution. It is one of the solutions. We can have a society will always have laws, will always say there are penalties. Implementation over time but yeah, penalties are there, laws are there. But the experience is most of the time passable. Communicate. అంటే ఇప్పుడు వాడు ఏమనుకుంటాడు కన్వీనియన్స్ కమ్స్ బిఫోర్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్. మనకు సొసైటీ నేర్పించింది, మోడర్న్ సొసైటీ నేర్పించింది, మనకున్న మెసేజ్ ఏంటంటే ఐ విల్ అంటే నువ్వు సిటీలో 20,000 ఎట్లా చదవాలంటే 45 అంతస్తులు 4 BHK కొనుక్కోవాలి. అదే నువ్వు 45 అంతస్తులో 4 BHK కొనుక్కున్నా దానికి నీళ్ళలో సప్లై చేయాలి, తీసుకోవాలి కిందకి. దాంట్లో ఉన్నోడు తయారు చేసిన ప్లాస్టిక్ వేస్ట్ ని ఎట్లా పట్టుకపోవాలి. 40 అంతస్తులో ఏళ్ళు ఫాదరో మదరో లేకపోతే కాకుండా ఉంటాయాడ అంటే మెడికల్ ఎమర్జెన్సీ వస్తే 40 అంతస్తులు జీవించలేక లేకపోతున్నాడు. హాస్పిటల్ దాకా పోలేడు. సో పుట్టింగ్ అంటే లగ్జరీ మన టీవీ కానీ మన మెసేజింగ్ మన కమ్యూనికేషన్ ఎట్లుంటుందంటే బడ్జెట్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ లగ్జరీ. నేను ఇలాన్ మస్క్ గారు పోయి మార్క్స్ కాలనీలు అవుతా అంటే నిజమే వచ్చి మన డిఫైడ్ కాదు. మీరు పోయి మార్క్స్ లో ఉండే ఛాన్స్ లేదు. ఒకటే ఉంది ప్లానెట్, దీనే మనం కాపాడుకోవాలి. ఇలాంటి మెసేజ్ ఎక్కడ ఉందండి? లేదు. ఎమిషన్స్ ఎమిషన్స్ కారు కొనుక్కుంటే ఒక రకమైన ఎమిషన్స్. భారతదేశంలో ఏం చేస్తున్నాం? ప్రైవేట్ ఎయిర్లో తిరుగుతున్నాం. వాళ్ళ ఎమిషన్ ఎంత అవుతుంది? వాట్ ఈస్ కార్బన్ ఇంటెన్సివ్నెస్? Did we ever, have you ever done a life cycle analysis on the carbon intensiveness of our actions? Same. ఇప్పుడు మనం కూడా గచ్చిబిడిలో మీటింగ్ ఈపీటీఆర్ అంటే ఒక్కొక్కరు ఒక్కొక్క కార్లు వచ్చాం అవకాశం ఉంది. మన ఇంటి పక్కన వాళ్ళు కూడా వాళ్ళ కాళ్ళ వాళ్ళు వస్తారు, మన కాళ్ళ వాళ్ళు అంతమంది అవుతారు కాళ్ళ ఖాళీ. సో what kind of communication, what kind of messaging are we doing? Are we as public health officials, as administrators, you all have a responsibility towards the society to first educate, awareness, positive messaging via the convenience ఉండొచ్చు, the luxury ఇది ఉండొచ్చు, కోరుకోవచ్చు. You need to announce that you have arrived in the city, fine. You can have a convoy of cars, fine. Basically, it has an environmental impact. And your planet is getting affected. Your planet is getting affected. So, నేను చేసే ప్రతి యాక్షన్ తోని నేనే కాదు, నా పట్టి కూడా కాదు, మొత్తం ప్లానెట్ అఫెక్ట్ అవుతుంది అనే అవేర్నెస్ అనేది పబ్లిక్ వచ్చిందో ఐ థింక్ థింగ్స్ విల్ చేంజ్. అండ్ ఆ అవేర్నెస్ రాకపోవడానికి ఇంకా రాలేదు అంటే మనం బాధ్యులం కలెక్టివ్ గా.
Thank you, sir. And we'll continue discussion of the lines, almost 1 minute now. We have to come back by 2 o'clock because we have an expert from Delhi speaking. We tried for his physical presence because of the government session and other issues.